called Pierre-Luc Dubois a big, powerful man. Was that a good example of that power on the overtime winning goal?
Yeah. So power to get to the inside, and then I'm still not sure how it went in, right? That went from ice surface to bar in almost a vertical line. So hands that go with it. But what's really good, I mean, obviously we win the game, but you have to think about what he's been through, right? There's quarantine and all the things before the trade, then the injury, and the pressure that, you know, I mean, those guys have to deal with, right? So he's 22 years old and he's feeling it, I'm sure. Not in a negative way, but he knows it's there, and it was a big performance tonight.
We'll go next to Ken Weave from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
All for the overtime, three forwards. Mark Scheifele said he was a fan. How do you balance that, and why did you go with it in this case?
Well, I believe in the idea, really, because there's not a lot of defending that goes on in overtime, right? I mean, it's almost a trade of chances, and it did. We kind of traded on the first two pucks to our net were dangerous, but Tucker didn't play in the third. We had run big minutes on our back end. I got two guys there, Morrissey and Pionk, who I think excel in the overtime, but didn't want to end up running them hard. So you start with the idea that you may have to go the full 5 minutes here. I got a bunch of miles on these other two defensemen, so I need a line of three. And when Pierre-Luc's in our lineup, I got, you know, probably 7 forwards that I want to get on the ice instead of pairs of 2 to get you to 6. There's probably 7 guys I'd like to see out there. So it just fits for how we're built.
We'll go next to Scott Billick from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Paul. You mentioned Tucker. What happened? It was unclear, but
okay. So I'll tell you. But first I got to clear up a headline I saw. I said no mechanism of injury, not that it was a mechanism. And I may have stuttered or stumbled. I'm talking about Pierre-Luc's injury. So no mechanism of injury. It means that there wasn't something specific that happened on the ice and this is a trainer's words, not mine. They'd say there was no mechanism of injury. He just came in sore the next day. So there's no mechanism of injury on Tucker Poolman, right? There wasn't an event that happened on the ice. He just didn't feel that he could continue in the third. So we'll say upper body, and we'll see how he is in a couple of days.
Go next with Drew Mandel from the Illegal Curve. Go ahead, Drew.
Paul, I'm sure it's not a surprise to you, but to a lot of us, we didn't think that Neil Pionk had the shot that he demonstrated with that power play goal tonight. How does that change the dynamic of that unit, having that weapon at the top of the blue line?
It's really important. It's also, that's a shorter minute power play unit, right? They went out first that time on the goal, but normally they go second. So the Scheifele unit will take minute 15 quite often. So these guys get 45 seconds. So you need somebody that's willing to shoot the puck, and especially from the top if we can. If you spend your last 45 just working it around the outside, you'll never get anything. So every time he does that, right, it goes a little more reinforced, get it up top and let's pound these things, right? And if he can't, he's going to slide it over to Nicky and now Doobie, and we're just going to get it to the net. So it sets the right mentality for that second unit power play, if you want to call that. They're the shorter minute unit, shorter time. The pucks have to get, heated up and get to the net. He can do it.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Paul, earlier today, Pierre-Luc Dubois said, "I've never been more ready to play in my entire life." And then I remember you saying, "I have no expectation for Pierre-Luc Dubois." Yeah. Did either of you guys mention those statements to each other?
No, I guess my point is when I look at what he's been through, his age, where he's at, if he'd come out and had a quiet game, I wouldn't have assessed him less as a player. And he had an awfully big game, so we're pretty pleased with that. I'm more happy for him. It's great that the Jets win, but it's a young man that's been through an awful lot. He's done everything right here. His shift length, his work ethic, all things. Probably, if you get Blake Wheeler comes in and says, "I can play," regardless of kind of the injury, I know he can play. So I'm going to get to know these guys better. Pierre-Luc now says he's ready to play. He's going to be ready to play. I won't hold him out.
Go next to Murat Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
Hi, Paul. Just on the note of Blake Wheeler, I mean, a couple of real nice primary assists and a bit of a strong run of play here. So what can you say about him right now?
Really good. The expectation would be that his game is strong and solid. I think, I guess that's what I expect every time he comes to the rink. I know that's what he expects of himself, and he's delivered that for us. So it didn't surprise me.
And final question to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Paul, you made it clear that Pierre-Luc is a long-term centerman for you, but what's it like to have that in your back pocket, knowing it worked at least once?
Right.
Go to it again.
Yeah, and I think they've got a lot more, right? So you look at the play in the first period where Mark tried to go back through the seam to Pierre-Luc, and there'll come a point in time where they stop trying to keep him happy, and like they'll just play. Once the three of them get to know each other a little bit, they'll just play. They'll shoot the pucks they're supposed to shoot, pass the ones they're supposed to pass. All of them are exceptional passers, right? But we can't turn that line into a. But they had a couple of shifts tonight where they hung onto the puck in the offensive zone, and I think they're going to be able to do that at speed. So I don't have him as a long-term winger, but it's a good way to introduce a guy into your systems, into everything, and he helps you win while it's going on. He's got two veteran guys that he's playing with. He's still a young man. So I liked it tonight. The next phase will probably be he gets flipped in and out. So it won't be that he permanently goes to another line as long as it's working well. But I might flip him and Stas out a little bit just for them to get, he's a centerman, and we need him to be a centerman going forward, but certainly liked it tonight.